All right, we are back. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I want to welcome everybody back to the Shout Out Show with me, your host, Preacher Moss. That's number one. Number two, if you're just coming back for the first time, if you're coming back, thank you again for coming back. If it's your first time, this is the Shout Out Show, and this is what we do. This is day number 21. Particularly for those people who are fasting, we are officially one day into the last 10 days of Ramadan, looking for the night of power. So these are all very, very important things. I'm bursting with just joy, man. I was in a situation trying to do some good with fundraising. Yesterday, I actually went on Facebook and I reached out to people because my campaigns were not going well. I do kind of laugh because some of my people in my group are older, so they don't really work the computers like they used to and things like that. We worried about cholesterol and Lipitor. You know what I'm saying? My my point is this though. I reached out for folks and I asked for help. I asked for assistance, and I had people who reached out to me via Facebook about how to work on the campaigns, make them a little bit better, some of the tactics, and overnight we raised in about 24 hours probably about $500. Now I know there are a ton of fundraisers going on in the Muslim community all over the world. Everybody's trying to raise and do virtual fundraising, and that's all well and good. My point is, I was emotionally touched by those people that reached out to me, and I see the end where we can have a good result. So this show is actually called "A Smile is Charity." A smile is charity. Now I know a lot of people have heard this hadith. A smile is charity. It's from the hadith of Prophet Muhammad. Peace and blessings be upon him and his family. What I would love to share is the fact that it's the act of making people feel a little bit better about themselves or a little bit better about their situations is one of the most genuine things that you can actually do for folks. Yesterday, I was so thrilled. I didn't even think that I would even have the assistance with this fundraising. And lo and behold, when I got on with one campaign had finished, another one was over halfway there. And it's just that idea that despite everything that's going on, we still have these subtleties of just humanity that allows us to reach out to folks and do for others. So I have some people I want to shout out. I told them on Facebook I was going to shout them out. I'm going to shout them out right now. Hope you guys don't mind. They're at the bottom. Akil Fad, Rules Atabath, Mujahid Ali, Sundar Shabir, Azhar McNeil, Salah Mazoy, Mikhail Atab, Suleiman Mukmun, Maddie Weaver. And I go to the next group of people: Yasmin Mana, Shireen Jabbar Dali, Cindy Massa, Jamil Alim Johnson, Carrie Fenton, and Lisa Edwards. Lisa Edwards is my homegirl from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Even she reached out to do some work, man. A smile is charity. So I like to focus on some of the things that make us smile. Some of the things that make you smile. Some of the people that make you smile. I have a host of folks. And I have to say this, I want to preface this as a comedian. A lot of people think that comedians, we laugh all the time, that we just get up and we joke and, oh, he's so funny on stage. He's got to be funny off stage. Well, no, there's a thing called on stage, off stage. And off stage, a lot of us deal with the pressures and the worries and anxieties of just life, putting food on the table, taking care of our parents, dealing with job situations. There are a lot of comedians right now, great comedians, but we're all out of work. We're literally out of work. They're talking about potentially no live scale or no large live scale events. They're talking about all the way into fall 2021. And I've talked to some of these brothers, and I just want to let some of the people who make us smile. I just want to let you know, guys. Hey, man, I'm with you. I'm actually thinking of putting together a program for the comedians, and I hope that people out in the Shout Out Show will support it because these brothers are out here doing just amazing things. And outside of comedy, we still are human people. We're human beings. So sometimes you won't see us on stage, but it's a beauty and a relief to look to my right or my left and see a brother who's a comedian or an entertainer, musician, lifted up a package of food, giving it to somebody. Just things like that, offering words of encouragement. There's also an art to kindness. There's an art to kindness. And the art of kindness starts with being selfless. Being selfless. I don't mean being, denying yourself. I mean being at times, the right time, being selfless. Look at a person saying, you know what? I can give to you and have absolutely no expectation. There's no return on investment. There's no ROI. And I think that's something that we need to get back to a lot of times. Because that whole thing about a smile is charity, when I first became Muslim, that was one of the terms that really brought my heart to Islam. A smile is charity. And it made me feel better as a comedian, as a person who was an entertainer. In my mind, I used to get on stage and I would make people really laugh, thinking that I would get those blessings. That may be true, not be true. That could be kind of selfish. But I'm saying that it made me feel so much better making people entertained, making people feel entertained and getting the physiology of laughter up out of people is just an amazing thing, man. And I tell folks all the time, just the little pieces of kindness, just the little pieces of kindness. A lot of times, the best part of a show is when you come off stage and it's not the adults, hey, sign this, take a picture. It's the little kids who are shy. They've never walked up to somebody and asked them for a picture. There was one little girl, I'll never forget, it was in Toledo, Ohio. We're talking 2004. And a little girl, she stood in the corner. She didn't want to come over. She had a little piece of paper and a pencil, and everyone was around. And it was just a beautiful thing that I had to just say, stop, everybody, I hope you don't mind. And I went over and sat with her and I talked with her. And of course, I signed her thing. But you know, the beautiful thing was she gave me a hug and a high five. And I'm like, those are the points, those are the things you live for. If you can't make children smile, or if you don't want to make children smile, I mean, what good are you? I mean, that's literally, what good are you? We are products of people who made us smile and feel good about ourselves growing up. And I mean that in the healthiest of senses. There are times in my life that I look at children and it looks in the worst case scenario. I look at children, I see a child smile and it cracks me up. I remember babies. Remember babies? Watching babies walk? I'm talking about that special stage where babies trying to walk, but their head is too big for their body. And you see them balancing every once in a while. You reach over and kind of tip the head and then follow. I'm not saying that I did that, but it's funny to see kids struggle with a big head. Why? Because sooner or later the head thing's going to work out. But it's just the beauty of it, the purity of it. So when I talk about a smile is charity, it ties into certain things. Like one of the best sayings I ever had. I could have never studied Quran, the Sunnah, Hadith, fiqh. I could have never studied any of that. And this would have been the thing that would have held me all the way through from the beginning of taking my Shahada to when I was over. Just this term, which has a lot to do with charity. If you read the Quran has a lot of dope sayings about charity. My favorite one is, here we go. You are not a true believer until you want for your brother what you want for yourself. It's saying that charity matters. Charity. We got a brother right here. What's going on? This is my main man, Ashar Aziz. Big brother, love you, man. I know that you are doing wonderful things. He's with Islamic Relief. Please shout out Islamic Relief and raise them up. And this is my man right here. I was talking about comedians. I have toured with this brother several times. Okay, very talented, but I'm gonna tell you something else, man. Just a heart of gold, man. Just a heart. This is a guy you could take straight off the stage and say, man, let's go get a burger. Let's go hang out. He's one of those hangout comedians, man. I wish you the best luck. I shouted you out in terms of your show, your success on BBC. Please, please continue to be successful. Appreciate you. Another reason I like Atif Nawaz is that he's just a very, very giving brother. The two brothers that we had, Azhar Aziz, Atif, yeah, man, just charitable dudes. I mean, in the business, particularly in the comedy business, it's rough. You don't know who's who. You know who's trying to be your friend, who's trying to get over on you, who's trying to use you. I mean, there's a saying in the business. Kanye West had this saying about entertainment, which was, "Get used to being used. Get used to being used." I am really happy, throughout my career that I haven't had to deal with that much. There's been some up and downs, but for the most part, the audiences that I choose to perform in front of make it easy because they're very charitable audiences. They're very charitable audiences, meaning that they come with a predisposition that they want you to do well. A lot of folks don't want that. A predisposition that people want you to do well. I was involved in a food distribution one time, and I think I was on the front where you ask the people, do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want this? Do you want that? And I learned something. I asked somebody, elderly couple, elderly black couple, I said, what did you need? I think it was oil and rice. It is big thing of oil and big thing of rice. And I asked the lady, and I took off, and I came back. She was hurt. And I was like, "Ma'am, is something wrong?" She said, "Yeah." She said, "I said thank you, and you didn't respond." I was so quick with going off to go get this rice. I'm like, you know what? Because there's a symbiotic relationship they have to do. If you've ever done comedy or any kind of entertainment for people who are suffering, it will change your heart. It will literally change your heart. One of the biggest things, one of the things that I am most worried about is not so much working; it's just not being able to do the work I do. Doing stand up for a lot of people, most of you folks know, I take a lot of what I make as a comedian, and I go to places and fuel other things, just like a lot of other people. I'm not any different than any people, but one of my biggest things for the last, I want to say 10 years has been performing at the prisons. Performing at the prisons for the last couple of years, I perform. I haven't done Eid shows for the community. I've done Eid shows in correctional facilities, and this year I'm not able to do it. Because normally I fund these tours myself, and if it wouldn't even be about money. I could go if I didn't have the money. I could borrow the money. I could fundraise for the money. This is a situation. Money doesn't even matter. It's the idea that you can't go to the prisons because of COVID-19, and it does hurt me because I know I'm talking about just going to prison and to perform. The feeling of destitution of being incarcerated. If you ever been to jail for any amount of time, you will never want to go to jail again. Okay, that's number one. Number two is I can't fathom what it is to go to prison, whereby jail was an upgrade. So please, brothers and sisters, I want you to make dua for our folks who are out there in incarcerated situations. I mean, everybody wants to be somewhere. Nobody really wants to be there. And I'm going to ask again. I don't know if Azhar, you're still on, brother. Can you give me a link so people can donate to Islamic Relief, if you don't mind, if you're still on? And I want to make sure I shout out these people. We talk about frontline folks, and I agree with people who are in the hospital situation, the police, the frontline folk. I'm gonna tell you, man, the people who are consistently have been out there for years doing fundraising, been out there for years, going to war-torn countries, going to refugee camps. They're frontline folks too. And I also want to give a shout out to some of our frontline parents, the people that had to turn around and pivot, and all of a sudden I got to juggle my job, my livelihood, with my children's education and welfare, and somehow they're figuring it out. It's not easy, but they're figuring it out. I also want to give a shout out to frontline moms. Frontline moms, here's the deal. You're frontline every day. You get up and you do it and you make it happen. And us bummy kids, we don't appreciate you. We give you a hard time. We talk back and all that type of stuff, but we love you. And what does it come to? I believe, and I may be wrong. See, I'm not a scholar. What's up, Haroon? It's my main man. Northern Cali, Haroon, him and his brother, Harris, Mikhail. We got a lot of love out there, man. Walaikum assalam to you too, brother. I believe we learn charity. The first charity that we learn in this is charity in the womb. It's charity in the womb. Your mother shows you the greatest charity that you'll ever outside of your creator. You're not gonna get that kind of charity. We love our dads. I love my dads, but you know what? My mom gave me birth. She gave me life. So when I get to that point, man, That's why every day, every day, if your mother's still here on this earth, I don't care if you whatever, call your mother up. Make sure she's doing all right. Just say, hey, what's happening with you? I have adopted moms. I have Dr. Yvonne Sivan, I have Sister Fitcher Muhammad, I have my mom in Philly, and I have my natural mom. I call them all the time just to make sure it's all right. And hey, this brother right here, hey, Umar Hakeem Day. Listen, Umar, he runs an organization called Encourage, and they work in LA doing what are they doing? Charity. When I say charity, I mean they're in Skid Row, man. If you've been in LA, Skid Row, I'm sorry, it's like a war zone, but people call it home. So, Umar, I want to shout you out for Humanitarian Day. Please let me know what I could do to help. I know I can't get to LA, but I can put you on the show, or we can try and fundraise, or whatever you want to do, brother. You know how we are. Give me a call. So, to continue, charity. I said a smile is charity. And I've heard great stories about Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, and his charity. That's just charity above and beyond. I'm just talking about the little things, our language. Just how our language, man. How are you? What are you up to? I'm not, and I'm not, I'm an old school dude too. I'm an old school dude. Like when you see elders and they talk to you, you take your hat off. You take your hat off. If you come into some folks' house, it's just that clarity that these people at some point in time have done something for you that either has either directed you, affected you directly or indirectly. And I think we need to get through this weird thing, man, where everybody says, "Oh my gosh," when you you go to the grocery stores, social distancing. That's cool, but it's not social disrespect. Help people. I find these situations, man. I remember when this whole COVID thing first broke, and everybody was getting water and toilet paper, so you couldn't drink, you couldn't wipe. You couldn't drink, you couldn't wipe. Okay, sorry, that was funny to me. And I remember being in a little bit of a selfish mode. I got there to the grocery store, like whatever, 6:30 in the morning. Everybody runs in there like it's Black Friday, and I got the last 4 cases of water that were there. And this Latino brother was like, "Hey, bro, dude, hey, where'd you get that water from?" And I was like, "It was back there, but I got all of it. Look at my face. It was back there, but I got all of it." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "One for your brother, what you want for yourself?" I said, "Hey, man, you got a family?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Look, man, take one of these things of water." I said, "Take one of these things of water." He was like, "Word?" And inside, I was like, "You better take this water if I change my mind." But he took the water, man. And of course, I went up to the counter, and they were like, "You can only have two," so I had to give one back. But man, it was really cool, just that exchange, man. Because I don't know if that brother walked around and go, "That was a really beautiful thing," or he was going, "That Negro's a sucker." I don't know. It could be either one. But I'm just saying, think about that, man. Just to, I mean, I always think of people when we have these Ramadan events. We have these the iftars. You ever think these people stand over a stove 2 hours, hour and a half, fixing food for hundreds of people? We just run in, sit down, and grab our date and we eat. Man, they stood over food hungry and didn't eat. And I'm like, why is it they the last ones to eat? Can't do that, man. We got to flip up the model. We got to change the model around. So I'm just bringing that out. I'm just sharing that. I could be wrong, but it's my show. I do whatever I want to. I'm gonna shout out some more people. These some frontline people for fundraising. Frontline people for fundraising. Shouting you out. I'm gonna shout them out one more time, brothers. I hope you don't mind. That's Yasmin Manna, Shireen Jabardali, Cindy Musa, Jamil Aleem Johnson, Carrie Fenton, Lisa Edwards. That's my homegirl from Milwaukee. And we're going to go with this right here. Akil Fad, Rules at the Bath, Mujahid Ali, Sundis Jabbar, also from Milwaukee, Azhar McNeil, Salam Missouri, Macau Akhtab, Suleiman Mukman, Maddie Weaver. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. So we got some time on the show. It's not a lot. Y'all know I don't do a long show. I was a public school teacher for a number of years, and what I know is people don't have really good attention spans. You know what I'm saying? I'm literally like I'm not gonna lie, man. When I go to masjid, that thing has to be timed just right for the cookpot. Because if you're trying to do a extended mix on your cookpot, which is over 35, 40 minutes, everybody's gonna be leaning back like, and I have been there. I'm not gonna lie. I've literally snored through several cookbots, but I did it in rhythm. It sounded like I was making the adhan. Okay, so in the time we have remaining, I just want to summarize a few things. One is this idea about charity. You know, charity. They say charity begins in the home. Charity begins with life, and that's the life that your mother gives you. That's true charity. So please, for this episode, call mom up. Even if you ain't got nothing to say, call her up. Make sure she's doing all right. That's number one. Number two, on the physical side of life, it was always your father. Call him up, make sure he's doing all right. If they're not here, pray for them because they put in work for you whenever here on earth. Okay? That's number one. Number two, I want to shout this out again. Umar, I don't know how you want me to do it, brother, but I will for sure do something with you or do something for you. Please support, encourage. This brother is doing amazing work in the nonprofit. I call it nonprofit. It's non-reward because you you can't go in there looking you're gonna get something. You gotta love the job, and he's been doing it for years. And I'm just shouting him out. I didn't get to see you in LA for a time to be grateful. You know what, brother? I think the time I got sick, I was actually dealing with the early signs of COVID, just so you know. So I think that might be about it. I shouted out everybody. I'm going to ask everybody if you don't mind, if you have time, maybe check out my fundraising page on my Facebook account. And we're just trying to get the 1,000 bucks. We're at 585. I think we can. I think we can get that. I think we can make it. So beyond that, charity is something that it's a discipline. It's a philosophy, it's a concept. But over all of that, it's easy. Just telling people you appreciate them, let them know, hey, I respect what you do. It may not be for you. That's the best thing in the world, man. Telling somebody you appreciate what they do has nothing to do with you. Oh man, this is my main man right here, Keith Wilder. Keith Wilder, I met at Weber State University. This is you talk about a heart of gold, man. This brother brought me in, and we just bonded over a number of years. He moved around. I don't know where you are now, Keith. I try and keep up with you, but I know you're doing good work. So I keep you and your family in my prayers. I saw the thing about your mom. I made prayer for your mom too. Keith is a good dude, man. Another guy, another charity guy who goes out of his way he wants to see things right with people. And I always appreciate that, man. Moving forward, and I'm going to wrap up the show here in a moment. I'm going to ask everybody to do me a favor. Do me a favor. Whether it's in your house or whether it's your job or whether you can use the phone or you can text, just today, focus on 2 acts of charity. Whether it's a text, whether it's a phone call, give me a ring. Give me a ring. If it's a letter, I think that'd be cool, man. Maybe with this downtime and shelter in place, we write a letter. And I think it's cool, man. And I think we should move forward on that. Keith is saying, giving some science here. Oh, man, that goes without a doubt, brother. Exactly. We both have the same values. Keith brought me in as a comedian right after 9/11, man. We connected after that. We've been friends ever since. But everybody, listen. We've hit the 25-minute mark. I know it's short, but it has been impactful. It has been productive. For me, I hope it's been that way for you. Continue to support the fundraising campaigns that I have on my website for Muslim Aid. Also, he didn't hit me back, but continue to support all the charities. Muslim Aid, Helping Hand, ICNA Relief, Islamic Relief. Give them all some encouragement. And if you can't give them any money, give them a call and say, hey, listen, I appreciate what you do. This is Preacher Moss. You know what I say? Allah is God, keep it simple. And also remember, don't be afraid to be great, and doggone it, don't ask for permission. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace.